You know, James, selling technology services that are integrated with payment processing can be a real plus when
Yeah.
it comes to selling your portfolio, right?
Absolutely.
But I would think there's some downsides.
There are some downsides. So it's a really big decision, and I think that the key point I want to make in this video is choose your technology partners carefully.
Right.
Because if you choose the right ones and you have this integrated technology, whether it's a point of sale system or a payment gateway or a subscription service that they're using for their subscribers, any of those things, when they're tied into your portfolio, your businesses, your prospects, your clients, they're going to have a much harder time leaving.
Right, because if it's fully integrated and
Sure.
and exclusive,
Right.
I mean, that's way too much of a hassle, right?
It is. Now, the downside, of course, is that whoever buys your portfolio, they are now really forming a relationship with whatever this technology vendor is.
Sure.
So if you form a relationship with some tiny little place that sells POS systems to a little niche and they've got 100 customers,
Yeah, not good.
well, all of a sudden, the people buying your portfolio say, well, what happens if that company goes out of business?
Or gets acquired or something, right?
Yeah, well, then what happens to their portfolio? What if that company decides that they're going to start offering processing? And they're going to cut you out of the loop, So I think, to me, the key things are, number one, choose your technology partners carefully. We give several really good tips, things to look at. If you go to ccsalespro.com/buyout, we have our free guide there.
Right.
It's the guide to selling your merchant residual portfolio. It's a definitive guide. It's absolutely free. We give some tips in there, and it's like you've got to make sure you choose those partners carefully. And you got to look at your agreements with them.
Well, that was the thing I was just going to bring up, because it's like, yeah, I mean, on the one hand, you want to be careful that they're not going to go out of business.
Right.
But you also got to be careful that they're not going to go poach your customers as well,
Absolutely.
right? I mean,
Yes.
because they could be just getting into the business and then say, wait a minute, maybe we
Right.
should be
Why are
doing,
we doing the credit card
partnering?
processing?
Yeah, exactly.
You got to have that ironclad agreement in writing that says, when I sell merchant services to a client,
Right.
the ISV, the independent software vendor, the technology partner, they cannot go around and sell a different, processing to that company. This is locked in.
Yeah, and make sure, I know we've said this before, but make sure you have an attorney look at your contract. A
Yeah.
competent attorney who understands this business.
Yeah. And I tell agents all the time, they say, well, James, I can't afford an attorney. Well,
You can't afford
you
not.
can't afford not. If you need to wait until you get maybe $1,000 a month in residual, but at some point along this path, you need to understand that $1,000 a month portfolio is potentially worth $10,000, $15,000.
Right.
As an asset in a buyout.
Right.
And as you grow to 5,000, now it's worth 100, 150,000. Like,
Exactly.
it starts to really grow to the point where you're like, wow, I need to, as my portfolio grows, I've got to be careful. You really need to make sure that these agreements you have, otherwise somebody's going to go to buy your portfolio and they're going to say, well, 60% of your portfolio is with this technology vendor.
Right.
Let's see your agreement with them.
Right.
Oh, I don't have one. I've just been selling stuff.
Yeah, not good.
They're not buying your portfolio.
Uh-uh.
You got to have an agreement, and it's got to state ironclad that they can't steal your accounts. And you need to think about, is this technology company large enough to sustain that they're not going to go out of business?
And that can grow with me, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you put all that together, as you said at the beginning,
Right.
huge positive, right? Because
Huge.
ultimately the buyer wants to make sure they're going to get paid over the long term.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have technology integrated into the business processes, you're going to have much lower attrition.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's going to be a huge benefit to you.
So to learn all about this and selling your portfolio, we have a great e-guide, right?
Yep.
E-guide that we put together. Just go to ccsalespro.com/buyout.
There you go. Check it out.